All right, I'd like to do a demo about rendering eyes. And since I already have this eye drawn out right here and I've got my source, I'm gonna go ahead and do this for y'all. I've got my 4B and my 2B. Those will be the two pencils that I use. Make sure that they are sharp, but maybe not with a pointed tip that could trench into your Bristol board. So I have, what I've got here is a basic laying down of value. I did this from the hair tutorial that I posted there. I'm gonna bring in a little bit more value here. And what I need to do is I need to give myself some context, some value to work with. So go ahead and lay this in. As long as you're light enough, you can always pick something back up with your kneaded eraser. So also keep your tracing paper. Keeping your tracing paper will allow you to find what it is that you might have lost beforehand. If you put down some value and you started to lose the lines that you transferred from your tracing paper, that would be a good reason to keep it so that you can relook at those back again. So I'm gonna come in here and got my 2B. I like following the contour of the eye right here at the top first. You have to find what works best for you. And what I have here is another line right there, and it's very dark. Remember to squint and match value. By the way, chances are for all of you people, you need to go darker. Value is relative to the other values that surround it, but if you're matching the source, it needs to go darker. Eyebrows are like hair. Go in the direction of the eyebrow hair that you see in the picture. Keep it soft. You don't want those eyebrows to look like they're stickers or as if they're tattooed on, even though some women might have them tattooed on. Chances are your source photo does not have it looking like that. Following this ball area, the whole eye cuts in. If you were sculpting this whole eye socket area cuts in away from the viewer, which is why it's all in shadow. But within that cut-in area, we've got this really beautiful ball area that's starting to curve out towards us. So knowing some of these anatomy tips will help you to look for what is it do I darken and what is it do I lighten. Again, I'm using my 2B for this for the moment. Starting to get really dark in here. Notice I've got a really tiny bit of a light area. It's for a change in plane of her under eyelid right there. Soft edge. Soft edges are easily achieved by doing small little circular motions if you wanted to. Also by coming back in and grabbing your kneaded eraser. Notice the shadow comes down right there. There's some areas I'm trying to work around the camera. Sorry if I seem like I'm a spazzing chicken right here. Noticing that angle is off, so I'm fixing that as I go. Noticing this is all very dark. Very dark. It kind of blends right into where the hair of her eyebrow is. Do you notice how we're starting to see form? Her eye is starting to emerge. This is the part that gets me very excited. All right, I'm starting now to get into the iris. I didn't place where that highlight is, so I'm just going to place it in now. Noticing the amount of space that needs to be on either side of it. Might not be perfect, but that's okay. The glare in the eye is similar kind of to the hair, where you can, doesn't have to be precise in order for it to still look like she's looking at us. What does need to be precise are the angles of the iris within the white of her eye. That's what determines what direction she's looking, or if she's cross-eyed. The whites of the eye are not purely white, they are gray. Can always come back and lighten that just a little bit with my kneaded eraser, but I wanted to give that tip to y'all. There is a value there. If you were to compare this to the background, this is still going to be slightly darker than the background. Let's give some more context. When you get to a certain area, like right over here, I realized I didn't have anything surrounding it. I gotta lay down some stuff surrounding it now so that I can mold with it. You gotta mold with the context of what's happening here. Now you don't have to. I know some artists, they like this blossoming method where you finish an area and then you move on to the next. And you can get really good at doing that by being detail oriented with matching your edges and values. It's not how I like to work. It's a hard edge. I'm gonna soften that, bring it in my eraser. Go. Same with this corner of the eye. That wasn't exactly what I wanted. Okay, back with my 2B. Okay, this is right there. Super light touch is happening right here, being very light. I'm even going to start to get into the cheekbone just because it's just so exciting to find this emerge. I'm going to soften these edges. Got this area going on in here, right up there from that eyebrow. It's like the indentation where her temple is right there as it comes into the eyebrow. This is why artists take anatomy. And to be able to use something like anatomy to be able to sculpt a 3D image on a 2-dimensional piece of paper, to me, is so satisfying. It's so cool. I'm bleeding out into the hair because that keeps it all cohesive. Everything works with everything else. Everything helps out everything else. We're starting to come into here. I've gotten some questions about eyelashes. Eyelashes are similar to hair and eyebrows, where keep it as a mass shape of value. So squint. Notice that when I squint, it's like her eyelashes, like they go away. So now what I can do is I can pull out a couple. You might not even be able to tell, really. But I can pull out a couple here. that's like barely perceivable. Let's see, where can I'm battling some glares here with the light I've got for the video. I will pick this up and show a couple angles of it to the camera so that you can see how this would look here. Now you'll notice I haven't drawn the nose. So I'm not about to go too much farther than this. Definitely have some areas drawn out before you get into some of this stuff here. But I'm gonna use my kneaded eraser to help out with that bottom part of her eye. Let's make sure this is molded the way I want. Jabbing that up. A little bit of an overkill. I'm gonna come back in. Notice I'm able to get as dark as I need to go with my 2B. I like using my 2B for some of this detail work because the graphite will remain hard in a way that, oops, I just made a mistake. In a way that it won't dull too soon. I didn't quite see where I was going. There we go. Okay. So as long as you don't have trenches, chances are you'll be able to fix anything that you're not pleased with. So let me come back in here because I was not pleased with that. So if you notice any errors in your drawing because you're noticing angles being off, and that sometimes happens, it happens to me quite a lot as I'm working on stuff like this. As I'm meticulously going through with the values, I'm seeing that like the actual drawing itself is like, oh, I could have done that better. So then you can fix it. Got some of this stuff happening. And we're about finished with this demo. I just want to touch up some areas that I wasn't quite pleased with. This guy right here. And squinting, and I'm going to see if anything glows. If something glows, it's probably too light. You need to darken it. Don't let things glow. All right, real fast, I'm gonna just lay down some stuff for the cheek here. I brought out my 4B to help with this. I actually have discovered I'm not even using my 4B for this demo. I would probably bring it in to help with this cheek, but for now I'm gonna stick with my 2B. Notice there's a slightly harder edge. It's soft, but it's slightly harder than some of these very faint gradients that are happening with the cheekbone. I can now come in with my kneaded eraser and really tap those out. Again, it might make the value a little too light, but we can always put another pass of graphite down. Oh, we're starting to see this emerge in the form that it needs to be. That's what's exciting. Coming back again. Just another light pass of graphite. Blend that all in. Refining some of these areas. It's also just a little too dark. I would probably lighten some of that area happening right there. Messing with the cheek just a little bit. All right, and now the last part here is I'm gonna lighten just a little bit of that under eyelid. Here we go. Now we've got something that's working a little bit better. Going to reshape this a little bit. Squinting. And this here, we have something that is working well. Even if I were to take the source away, this can stand on its own at this point. And that's something to remember. As long as the drawing is accurate and then you match the values and edges for what's important, this can now stand on itself. Do you see how it's punched in now? We've got some beautiful things that are rolling over in form as the light side rolls into the shadow side with that soft edge right there. It comes into the hard edge with the crease of the eyes. Just a little bit of the eyelashes. When it gets to the dark area, you can't even see them as much. I'm actually gonna touch up some things here. I've got, now that I can see this a little bit better, I've got this little area right here, corner of her eye, as it comes up like that. Kind of punch that in. This is starting to work really nicely. I say starting to, it is working nicely. So we've got some really nice stuff with her eye, her lid. I'm making sure to be detail oriented with what edges are hard and what edges are soft. Things that I can dab up with my kneaded eraser, things that after I do so, I might need to come back and put down another pass of graphite to smooth that out, put it back to the value it needs to be, and really focusing on getting that contour and what's happening with the form so it shows nicely on this two-dimensional piece of Bristol board, but we are copying a three-dimensional face onto it.